Hey, welcome back to Aegis Defense Solutions. It's Mike and James and Jay are both here also. And we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, and now we're back. We had a big push with a good friend of ours that opened up an indoor gun range, and we've been providing training and classes at their new facility, which has been super exciting, but that kind of put everything on a standstill. So with our first video being back, what are we looking at? We're looking at the Mark 23 by H&K for US SOCOM. Now, the Mark 23, this thing is kind of neat. It has a fun pedigree behind it. From everything, especially in the pulp culture world, such as video games that made it popular like Call of Duty and the ever popular Metal Gear Solid. So the Mark 23, developed by H&K, like I stated before, this was developed for US SOCOM after SOCOM requested new handguns essentially in 1989 and would enter service in 1996. And they were requesting features of a more rugged handgun with a higher stopping power, and so they ended up going with a 45 ACP, and they bypassed over 1911s that were in this testing program, and the only one that actually went on into a phase 2 testing portion in the 1989 period was the Mark 23, and then again entering service in 1996. But as you notice at the front here and halfway down the actual barrel, there are two rubber O-rings, and those rubber O-rings are designed, at least by what H&K was trying to do, was to ensure a tighter lockup against the slide to help with reliability and performance. So kind of a neat feature with that. Now, what is pretty unique about the another thing about the H&K Mark 23 is the rail system on this. As you notice, there's no cross rails here because this is not a 1913 Picatinny rail. This was a proprietary rail system that H&K made for this. And in fact, if we actually look in the trigger guard, there is a threaded hole where you actually, you would fit on the light unit onto this, and it would actually thread into that hole on the front of that. But this never actually caught on in Picatinny rail systems that we see today. The unit that they made for this, the light and laser unit, is actually called the LAM, the laser aiming module. And they had a couple different variations of it, one with just a regular light and then one with an IR light. And we actually didn't be able to get our hands on one because they don't make them anymore. We could get like a Tokyo Maru airsoft one that we could throw on the front. We might still do that for funsies. But it's difficult to get your hands on, and you're spending a lot of money to do that. So, you know, we're being ballers on a budget on this one. Now, other things to notice on this, because it is a hammer fired, it is a double action, single action. So the trigger on this has quite the take up. I pull that back. We do have a heavy pull. There's the brake, and here's our reset. Reset's very, very nice, but as with the double action, single action, that initial pull backward is going to be pretty stiff. Now, there is a safety lever on that, and that safety lever is ambidextrous. We have it on both sides, but we also have a decocking lever, but that is only on one side. And I say lever, it's more of a slide, and as long as it's in the fire position, I can slide that down, and it will throw it back out of the hammer rearward position and decock the entire system. All right, so let's actually take this thing onto the range and have some fun with it.
If at any point I end up throwing two mags, it's solely because the lip just sits on top of it. So you take out one mag. Be a fun day.
Whatever you want to do.
Whatever I want to do, huh? Well, I just want to get a feel for it, you know?
Yeah, just do that.
Ooh, feels solid. Woo! I don't like the mag release. It feels good though.
I think it's snappier than a 1911, which is surprising how big that frickin' thing is.
Yeah, it is.
That's just my opinion.
Oh, no.
You did it too.
I did it too. That was awful.
I think Jaden got some zooms in and stuff too. So.
That was awful. I'm just going to go for accurate headshots. Not too bad. First off, it's a beefy boy. The muzzle whip actually feels like it's more than a 1911, like more felt recoil. That's my opinion. My opinion sucks. You don't have to listen to it, but I like my opinion. One other thing, the Europeans are doing it wrong with the mag release. 1911 is hard to get to. This one's even worse. I literally have to cant the pistol a lot more than a 1911 in order to reach that mag release. Other than that, though, it is nice. I do like it. I'm pretty accurate with it. The sights are fantastic on this. A lot better than even the 1911, in my opinion.
Totally fits. It's meant for this, you know? Meant for it.
If it fits, it sits.
Yeah. No. I was just gonna shoot it just with hopes and dreams.
Hold it up and go pew pew pew.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with it. It's so big. It's like a hand cannon.
What do you want to do?
Shooter ready.
Shooter ready. Well, what are you gonna do? What's your drill?
I'm just gonna shoot it. Oh, now I'm gonna do these two. We're gonna do those two.
Safety. 3, 2, 1. Shooter ready.
Gonna look like this.
It's going.
What?
God damn it. I don't know what drill that was in 6 seconds. 6.3.
We're professionals.
No, we're not. God, I pinched my hand on an AK last night.
That's what she said.
So the muzzle whip on this thing, as James said earlier, absolutely wild. And you could say, oh, well, that's all about your like, you know, your fundamentals. I'm sorry, this thing's a freaking hand cannon, dude. This thing's massive. I can't even get a closed grip on my main hand. And then my support hand, I feel like barely fits anywhere. I had to use essentially I had to use both hands just to manipulate this thing. And
That's what she said.
Where the mag release is really not working for me. So for me, the Mark 23, as a lot of people have said, which I thought was crazy until I shot it myself, biggest mag gun I've ever fired. One of the biggest issues I have with this gun in general is how freaking far away the slide release is. I don't have very big hands. So if you are someone that wanted this gun and you have small hands, it's kind of not going to be the best option for you.
Now, I bought this because I wanted it. It is kind of a holy grail gun. You know, in the pop culture, Call of Duty, Metal Gear Solid, it's always been pretty popular. And I always wanted one. So, got the holy grail gun as far as just kind of a cool collector's item. And let's actually see how this thing performs, huh? Well, let's see if I can get some second splits here. 1.35 on first shot. 1.5, that was worse. 1.04. I want to see if I get that below a second. .83, and I hit A zone with that. That's cool. I got one C zone. That was during one of the other shots, but I got A zone that top left there.
Not bad.
At .83, yeah, I got that sub 1 second. So, but you know, let's do a couple strings here. I'll do I'll just use your target from over here. We'll do 2-2, one to the head, one to the head. That does have a lot more muzzle rise to it. It does. It kind of feels like it has a lot more muzzle whip. Despite that 5-inch barrel, it feels like it has more muzzle rise and more muzzle whip than a 1911, which is kind of surprising. You'd think, because it's a pretty heavy, handgun, and I get that calling it kind of a hand cannon. I honestly thought it would have just a little less. My initial thoughts, a few mags into it. It's heavy. It's fun to fire. Is it worth like $2,000 I think like on Gunbroker, you probably pick one up for about $2,200 to $2,400. It is the most overrated Holy Grail gun I think there is. If you want a Holy Grail gun, man, go die hard. Get an MP5, get an AUG. MP5s are awesome. AUGs are pretty fun too. I don't think Solid Snake should have been sneaking around with this, especially with that giant lamb on the front of that, and then you put on that 5 to 6 inch suppressor. That's going to be a very front-heavy handgun, but it is pretty fun. And I get Jaden and James's complaints too. I've got longer thumbs, so when I'm actually actuating the mag release on this, I don't have any problem with the European style of it. However, if you do have shorter thumbs, I do notice that even guys I deployed with, if they had to reload their M9, even operationally during a training event, they bring it into their workspace. They'd actually cant the gun to get their thumb in there if it couldn't reach. But again, I didn't have too much of an issue with it for me, so not too bad. We'll try a quick build drill. Let's see how that goes. .92. Sweet.
Yeah, see, look.
All A zone again, except for the. I got 4 out of 5 were A zone on that one.
Oh, the freaking safety!
What I do like is how light that trigger pull is. Once the hammer's back, super, super light trigger pull.
All right, so the Mark 23 by H&K. I think my final verdict is it is a holy grail gun that is overrated.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's fun. It is a fun gun to shoot, but I felt it does have a little bit more felt muzzle whip and a nice trigger and everything, but there's just a few little quirks and stuff that I just don't care for when it just comes to the shooting experience. One thing, that decocking lever on the side is it just feels kind of goofy because it just kind of slips off your finger. You pull it down, it decocks it, does it quickly. Yeah, that's neat and all, but honestly, it kind of slides out your finger. It feels a little off. But in the end, is this something that's worth as much as it costs for an H&K? Probably not.
I'd say it's a fantastic collector's piece, especially if you're a video game fanatic like the rest of us. But actually shooting it, it's okay.
It's the biggest meh gun we've ever fired. Hands down. So,
Agreed.
Hey, it's James and Mike and Jaden with Aegis Defense Solutions. Thanks for sticking around. Remember, stay prepared, not scared.